Hi everyone, it's Angela with Create Your Future. Happy Saturday. Thanks for being here. Guys, today I am talking more on thought transmission. People are so interested in this subject, and so I'm going to talk about it some more. But really, thought transmission is just the basis of law of assumption. And law of assumption is just our interpretation, our explanation of how life is unfolding, right? It's how the universe works. It's how everything has been operating since the beginning of time, right? It's just a law, just like the law of gravity. It's just always happening. It's always occurring. So law of assumption is how we begin to work with that process. It is how we begin to understand the process and work with it so that we begin to create the outcomes that we want through faith, through our understanding of the process. And law of assumption is based on thoughts. It's all your internal story. It comes from that concept that we all refer to as everyone is you pushed out, meaning everything that you are holding on to internally, thinking about, is going to show up in your reality. It's going to reflect back to you into your 3D experience. The real, true reality is what is within. What you are thinking about, what you are putting your attention on with your thoughts. And so everything is occurring in this universe, in your quantum bubble, based on your thoughts. And everyone and everything in your experience is going to reflect your thinking. It's going to respond to your thoughts. You are speaking to everyone all the time. You're speaking to everything in your experience through your thoughts. That is how your entire life is unfolding. It's based on what you are thinking about. Because basically, when you are thinking about something, whether you are thinking about a person or you are thinking about something material, an object, money, a house, whether you're thinking about your physical body, you are really talking to those things. And depending on what you're thinking about, you're saying, this is how I want this experience to come into my reality. This is how I want to experience you, money, like this, like you love me, like I'm a magnet, like you always are coming into me easily and effortlessly into my 3D reality. You're giving direction to everything via your thoughts, because everything is listening to you. Everything is listening for your direction, and it's happening within. It's happening internally. When you are thinking about a particular version of a person or a particular version of money, a version of money that is favorable and abundant and easy to come by, you're thinking about it internally. You're saying, this is how I want to experience you in my 3D reality. You're speaking to that version of a person. You're speaking to that version of money, of finances, by your thoughts. You're identifying how you want someone to show up in your reality. So the true reality is always within, in your imagination, in your internal story, all centered around your thinking and your thoughts. Okay? I'm trying to give more clarification and understanding and help you to understand how this all works. Thought transmission it's not anything unusual. It's just, as we begin to understand this, it opens up a broader way of thinking, and it holds us accountable for those internal stories. And when you begin to really accept it, surrender to it, feel confident in the process, then it empowers you, right? And that is part of your waking up. That is part of your transformation, right? It is part of your journey in becoming more expansive and being who you truly are at the core, right? You are an unlimited being. You are the God of your experience, and your experience is your quantum bubble, and that is all based on your internal thinking, your thoughts, your assumptions, your beliefs. Now, you have been given this privilege to create or align with anything that you want. So as you begin to understand this process and understand your thinking and understand that you are speaking to everything in your reality, you realize that if things have shown up in your reality that you don't like, whether it's a financial situation, whether it's something in your body that you don't like, a situation that is not in alignment with health and energy, whether it is a relationship within your family or a romantic relationship. As you begin to understand this and you look at your 3D reflection, you realize that you can change all of this. You can turn things around. You can have new experiences. This is your privilege. This is your birthright to use this internal power, this internal strength to create better outcomes for you. That is the faith, right? Believing in the process, believing in the power of your thoughts. So what I want to do in this video is share a few examples of the thoughts from my own life and from someone else that I know really well, of how the thoughts have connected and created or aligned with new experiences, right? And it's an example of our thoughts speaking to everything, not just to people, but to finances. And it's just a good example of remembering that your thoughts are always doing something, okay? So the first one that I want to share is my own experience, and it has to do with money. And several years ago, I really began changing my mindset around money. I began affirming that money loves me, money is easy to come by, money is seeking me out, money loves me. And along with that, I always include affirmations daily, that life is easy, life is effortless, life comes to me in positive and supportive ways, all right? So I had an experience where I had a really large medical bill for a procedure for like one of my kids, and it was not covered by the insurance. When I tried to file it, they said that's not covered. So I started making payments on this. It was a pretty big bill. And I don't know, 6 months down the road or something, I was talking to someone from my insurance company, and they were looking into some of the history on my account, and they saw that claim, and they said, that should really be covered. I feel like you should, have that covered under insurance. Let me do some checking on that for you. And I thought, okay, great. I didn't really give it a lot of thought. I was already making payments on it. So about probably a month later, I logged onto the account where I was making a payment, and the bill was completely paid for. An insurance payment came in, paid it off, the remainder of what was due on that, which was a significant amount. Then I got a check from my insurance company for the entire amount of the bill and then some. So it was extra. So the insurance had paid for everything. I actually was paid back for everything that I had paid. They paid the entire bill, and then they had allowed more for that expense than what I was actually charged by the provider. Everything was covered, and a check had been sent to the provider by the insurance company and totally paid off a balance. So I came out ahead, way ahead on that. I didn't really have to do anything. Somebody just did some checking for me. It just came to me, right? It just showed up. Now, that wasn't just like $1 million in my account, but that was something. And I was really grateful for it. And it was just evidence of money supporting me, money loving me, money coming to me easily and effortlessly. Now I have another money one that has to deal with a savings account that I had. I have an account in the bank where we keep savings. And a few years ago, somebody from my bank reached out to me and said they had a new offer, a new account that was going to have better interest rates. They wanted to know if I wanted to put the savings account into this new account. And I said, sure. And I went in, took care of everything, and immediately started getting a really good amount of interest every month on that account. Now, there's two really interesting things about that. One, I'll say, is I wasn't even looking for that. They reached out to me, they called me, it just came to me. But another interesting point is I have a family member that they had probably a very similar amount of savings. And they said, oh, I want to check on that, see if I can get that same kind of account. And they called the bank and they were told that was just available to certain customers. Not everyone is going to be eligible for it. They weren't able to get that account. I don't know why I did, other than I have a belief that money loves me, comes into my account, seeks me out because I'm a money magnet. The other interesting thing is I have used a good amount of that savings. We did like some home renovations and things, so we took some of that out, but I still consistently, I guess it's based on that rate, right? And it must be going up. I still consistently am getting about the same amount monthly on the interest. And my belief is money loves me. Money finds a way to come to me. So, in the natural, I really can't explain either one of those circumstances, but I have a belief that money loves me. And, neither one of those stories is reflecting like $1 million, but it's just an example of money coming in easily, effortlessly, seeking me out. I didn't have to do anything. I didn't go out of my way. I just believed that money would come to me. And the more that little things like that come into your experience, that increases your faith, that increases your trust, that increases your belief in this process and that affirmation. And it's knowing that I have been speaking to money. I have been telling money, you're easy to come by. You love me. You want to seek me out, right? And it's opening the door for bigger and larger amounts to come into my experience. That money has been listening to my story. Money has been coming into my 3D experience based on an internal thought, right? I've been speaking to money. So that's an example of a material thing, right? It's not a person, but everything is listening. Money is listening. Your environment around you, your house is listening. Your car is listening. Everything is actually listening or responding to your stories internally. So the other story that I have to share is this is about a friend that had an SP situation in which a third party showed up. There was a separation. My friend did get back together with her SP, but in the months that followed that, she had a lot of anxiety, a lot of fear, a lot of turmoil going on in her inner story about that third party. Thinking about, what if the third party comes back? What is it about the third party that was better than me? I don't feel as confident as I once did. I feel like there's something better about this third party. She's very obsessed with that third party, all right? And we talked about that a lot, and she already understands self-assumption, but I shared with her that she really needed to change her story about the third party, create something different around that third party so that the third party is gone for good in her life, right? So her story that she came up with was the third party met somebody else. The third party is going to move on in a new life, going to get engaged and married and totally move on, gone forever from her experience in her SP. And it was probably, I don't know, about a year's time of her affirming that. Every time she had that fear, that concern, what if the third party comes back again? What if the third party comes across the path of my SP? What if? Anytime those things begin to come into her mind, she'd say, no, The third party's actually moved on. Somebody different. She's getting married. Her life is so far removed from us now. She did that for a long time, 6 months to a year, I don't know. That was her thought process, her thoughts that she was speaking to the third party, and that she was thinking to a new partner for the third party, right? Everyone in her reality is listening. Everyone. So what happened was she heard through the grapevine that the third party had met somebody else, was in a very serious relationship, and probably about a year from that time, she found out that the third party and that new person were engaged. And then I saw something, because I knew who all these people are. I saw something on social media that that third party had actually got married probably about 6 months ago. I saw that. So all of the story that my friend had internally, her thinking, her thoughts, were speaking to that whole experience, because the third party was a part of her quantum bubble. The new partner, the new relationship with that third party was a part of her quantum bubble. They all were listening for the direction that she chose, right? Now, I want to clarify something else. A lot of people get so upset, they get afraid, they think, oh, I've thought a negative thought, or I've even been entertaining a negative story. Am I telling my specific person to show up like this? Is it going to happen? Listen, my friend ruminated on fears and concerns for a long time, a long time. It did not show up. Okay. She was probably aligning herself with that reality. And had she continued to persist, she would have eventually seen that 3D experience. But she got a hold of that, shifted her thinking into a new story, began to speak to a new outcome. And as she persisted in that, she got that evidence in her reality of that new story. And think about, what all that involved. It involved that third party, right? That third party was going to respond to that story. It involved somebody else coming in, right? And that was a new partner. She thought about all of that, and she opened the door for that experience to come into her reality. That is what she chose for the third party. So she did spend time thinking about that negative story, but she got a hold of it. She turned it around, and it had a different outcome in the 3D, because she began to speak new things, and her thinking was overheard, right? Her thinking was picked up on by everyone in her experience. Neville says the whole vast world is you pushed out. Everyone, everything in your reality is really waiting for your direction, waiting for your assumption to tell people, money, health, how to show up in your experience. Everything is waiting. So, try to create those beliefs within you that support an understanding of this, that support a faith in this process, that support knowing that this is how reality has always been revealed to people, right? It's based on the internal space, the faith, because your faith is the substance. It is the reality. It is the evidence of things that aren't seen yet. And so you persist, but your persisting is actually speaking to that version of whatever it is you want to experience, whether it is money, whether it is, just a friendship, a romantic relationship, family relationships, children. You're speaking to those versions of people and saying, I choose you. I choose money abundantly. Money, I choose you to come into my life effortlessly, easily. I choose health in this body, right? You have the privilege of choosing different realities, different outcomes. You have the privilege of looking at your story and changing it and persisting in it with a really strong belief in knowing that it's going to show up that way. Okay? So, guys, I hope this brings even more clarity and encouragement for you. I hope these little stories in my own life and, that story with my friend, which I think is really awesome, um, encourage you to know that you can do the same. And we can do this on a greater scale as we begin to believe in it more and more. We have the confidence to believe that it's not just, a couple $1,000s that's coming in, but maybe it's $1 million. Maybe it's more than that, right? And you can believe good things for everybody in your reality. Speak to everyone in a positive way, knowing that you don't have to feel like there's competition or a threat. You just have to speak in a way that is allowing people to show up differently so that it doesn't create a conflict or a trigger in your reality, right? Yeah, I hope that that is encouraging to you guys. And if you have your own experience where you have really been able to directly correlate your thoughts, your thinking, and then seeing it show up, knowing that your thoughts were overheard because you see a perfect example of that, leave a comment because it is so encouraging for other people to hear these stories. Okay, guys, a few housekeeping things. We are giving away a free course, How to Find Your Blocks to Manifest Anything Fast. You can look in the description box to get that. I have an amazing course. It is called Awaken to I Am, and it's all about understanding that power that I'm talking about right here in this video about your thoughts. And I also have affirmations that are a part of that so that you can listen to those and instill that belief within you, all right? And if you would like to work with me, if you want to talk more on thought transmission, if you just want to grow in your understanding, book a session. I love talking about this. I love helping my clients, understand this and then apply it to get your desire, whatever that might be. Okay. So thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.